All right, folks, welcome back. I'm Jake Ellenbogen. Today we are going to be doing Mailbag number 2 for the JE Mailbag series. Before we dive into it, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Also, be sure to follow me on all social media at JKBogan. Let's kick this thing off. At Elite Gamer 9483, how many Super Bowls can the Rams win at least and at most with Stafford? Now, I found this to be an intriguing little question here, and I do not know the answer. But as far as how many Stafford can win them all. The Rams can win them all. I mean, that's certainly possible. They're one of the best teams in football, and we've seen teams, repeat champions all the time. Now, the reality, at most, what's possible is that Stafford can win probably the next 3 to 4 years. But if we're trying to be realistic here, he can win at least one more. I think that's definitely fair to say. I know he'll want 2. I think realism here, he probably wins one more. I think it could be this year. So we'll see what ends up happening. Appreciate the question, and interesting one to get us started. All right. Next one here. Do you think Ernest Jones gets extended before the year? New leader of the defense. We should get him secured. And that is at Hill Lights. Okay. So let's talk about this. I think Ernest Jones could have been extended. However, I think the Rams already not being able to extend him throughout the offseason, I think they're probably good. They'll probably come back to the table, after free agency. He seems like somebody that they'll probably try to sign, like Dante Fowler Jr., when he was with the Rams. He signed during free agency. I think it'll be something like that for Ernest Jones, but absolutely agree. His presence is known, and this is somebody that is very valuable to this team. He's one of the cornerstone pieces if they bring him back on a long-term deal. He's really become a vocal leader, but also a leader by example, so you love to see that. Next up here, Paolo Everato, 6821. Do you think Puka gets a passing touchdown this year? So to answer your question, I wasn't really thinking about that. Now, is it possible? Absolutely. I'm going to say I don't think he gets a passing touchdown this year. I don't think so, but if he does, that would be kind of funny, and we'll get back to this. We'll go back to this, and we'll revisit it, that you mentioned it, because I'm going to call this right now. If he ends up throwing a passing touchdown, you called it. I know it's a question, but I wasn't expecting to see a question like this. So if he does that, props to you. Moving on to the next question here, Paul 1182P. What do you think of Stetson Bennett? Will he develop into a solid backup or simply fade away? I think this is a fantastic question. Stetson Bennett has a lot around him, right? Obviously we know he missed the whole rookie season, was on the injury illness list. He explained, after the fact, he's still, first off, he didn't give up on football. He's still here. The Rams have given him that chance. They were preparing for him to come back, work with the offseason program. But furthermore, Stetson Bennett has come out and has admitted that it was a mental health thing. So I think we all knew that, but I thought that was pretty big of him to explain. He didn't get too much into details, and I don't think he really has to. I think we could just leave it at that. But what do I think of Stetson Bennett? I think this guy is better than given credit for, and I hope he gets a chance. Okay, I hope he gets a chance to be that backup. You have Jimmy Garoppolo. He's a very good backup in this league. Could even start on a few teams. So, I think Stetson Bennett will probably be on the back burner, but the first 2 games, there's an opportunity there. God forbid Matthew Stafford goes down the first 2 games. Because Jimmy Garoppolo is suspended for the first 2, Stetson Bennett could absolutely be the next man up there. Will he develop into a solid backup or simply fade away is also a great 2-part to this question. I think he's going to develop into a solid backup. I think the goal is he's going to be the long-term backup. They'll have more clarity on who the backup quarterback is than their franchise quarterback post Matthew Stafford, but it's not always a bad thing. I think he's somebody that can be like a Gardner Minshew, and he has that mobility and he can play off script and he's got that clutch gene. And he's just somebody there that you can rely on if anybody were to go down. That's what I think Stetson Bennett is going to end up being. I think he's got enough talent where he could end up being a spot starter, maybe even like a Case Keenum, somebody like that. We'll see what ends up happening, but I do like Stetson Bennett to answer your question. Next up, I don't know why this is so small, so let's try and open this thing. So, yeah, next up we have here user CE7XK7CK3J. I really hate, by the way, I'm just going to say this real quick. I really hate that YouTube does this screen name, because I'm sure this is a full name. I'm sure I've probably seen you many times before, but because you haven't set up your screen name, this is what YouTube is showing me on the comments, which is kind of BS. But anyway, hey, Jake, do you think you can try and make it to the home opener and help us dedicated, loyal Royal Guard Rams fans? Please take the baton, try to help your fellow Rams 2 brothers stop the 49ers invasion. Thanks for being the best Rams contributor on the net. I appreciate you. I will try. No guarantees whatsoever. I am on the other side of the country, so when I do get a chance to go to a Rams game, it's going to be great. Haven't gone since COVID. Before COVID, it was 2019. I saw, at the Coliseum that last year. It was the Rams and Saints. The game, Drew Brees actually ended up leaving the game. Cooper Kupp had the crazy touchdown, or should have been touchdown. I think it was called back and placed at the 1-yard line. Robert Woods threw like 3 blocks down the field. I was at that game. So it's overdue. I do need to get out there. It's a matter of making it work logistically. Plus, I got to be honest with you, I'm not dying to fly right now with everything going on. So I'll just leave it at that, but I would love to be able to go. If I could, I would absolutely love to. We'll see what ends up happening for the time being. All right, next question here. Why do you like Tutu so much? I don't see the production from him. I look for film on him or YouTube highlights, and I don't see people giving him much love. I don't see why the Rams should sign him to an extension. And that is Shin Danu. Thank you for the question. I like Tutu because he's not the problem. His lack of production is lack of usage. This is somebody who we saw when he got a chance to be the starter and get an opportunity. He was doing very well. Now, Puka Nacua took over, and eventually, when Cooper Kupp came back, Tutu Atwell was used as a clear-out guy, nothing more, nothing less. And so, unfortunately, his quick start to the season kind of faltered. But this is somebody that possesses that speed that can break open a game. Somebody like Tyreek Hill, in a sense, that could break open the game with speed. However, he's a good route runner. A lot of times when you see these speedsters, they don't have hands. They don't run routes. He's got good hands. He's got really good hands through contact. He'll play through contact. He's made some crazy catches. He's got a great vert. There's a lot to like about Tutu Atwell, and I think he creates different looks for the offense to go up against the defense, right? And so now with Demarcus Robinson, I think it's entirely because of the size. I think, Stafford likes throwing to a bigger body more, and that's the way that is. But I don't think Tutu Atwell is a bad player by any stretch. I think he could actually be really good. I think he could be a 1,000-yard receiver. I've compared him to Marquise Brown. It's not that I'm saying he'll be the best receiver in football, but, he clearly has talent. People aren't high on him because he doesn't get an opportunity. And when he did, it very limited. You're only going to hear praise from those moments from a channel like mine, right? Because not all the channels on YouTube even know who Tutu Atwell is. He's not the one making plays, although he caught the touchdown the most recent playoff game. And they kept him. So keep this in mind. We've seen in the past, Van Jefferson got traded midseason last year in a contract year, right? We've seen them move on from guys in their contract year. They did it with Ben Skoranek, but they did decide to keep Tutu Atwell. There was a reason for that. I'm actually pretty excited to see what that reason was. So those are my thoughts. Respectable Goose 6453. who are some Rams players in your mind that are massive underdogs that most people are overlooking? Off the top of my head, I think the first one I'm going to say is Bobby Brown III. I know what we saw at Kobe Turner. Feel really good about that. They go out and get Braden Fisk, but make no mistake about it, Bobby Brown III is a very talented player, very athletic, very underrated. I already made a video on him, but he's still being overlooked. He's got crazy athleticism. He hasn't really been utilized as a pass rusher, which is something that I think he could be really good at. Really just a run stopper. So I really would say him. I would say Davis Allen is somebody that is being a little overlooked here. The reason being is I think Davis Allen being a 5th round pick has a lot to do with it. But, I talk about Colby Parkinson, and he was one of the guys that I mentioned in that video with Bobby Brown III. But I wanted to give Davis Allen some credit because I think a lot of people were really quick to be like, especially on this channel, we talked about the fact that we knew, if he's there, Brock Bowers was going to be a Ram. If they were able to make the trade and he was there, Brock Bowers is a Ram. So there was interest there. And I think after that, people started being like, all right, well, I want a new tight end. Davis Allen is a 5th round pick. So was Puka Nacua. So don't rule out Davis Allen just because he was a 5th rounder. That's all I have to say about that. And then I'll name 2 more overlooked players. Number 3, I'm probably going to go in a different direction here. Now, I could absolutely say Kyren Williams because for whatever reason, they're still Rams fans. I think he's not good. I don't know why, but that is the case. I'm going to say overlooked player here. This one's tough. I'm going to say, because I want to mix it up. So, why don't we go with Rob Havenstein? I mean, we talk all the time, Avila at center, you go out and get Jonah Jackson, Kevin Dotson signed. We never talk about Rob Havenstein and how he's one of the best right tackles in all of football. Simply put, full stop. He's the last remaining St. Louis Ram on this team. That's a big deal to me. So we do not talk about him enough. And that's what I would say there. And then the last but not least player, okay? Last but not least, overlooked, never talked about. Understand he had not a great second year. His first year, he looked like a rising star. I'm talking about Kobe Durant. I don't know what the future holds with him, but I'm not betting against him. He's got crazy athleticism. He's got the football chops and acumen to be a really good contributor for a long time. Will he start this year? Maybe not. They went out and got Darius Williams. They went out and got Trey White. He might not have an opportunity to start, but long term, he can end up being really good. And I think we saw a glimpse of that, his first year. Obviously, we saw a glimpse of that his first year. His second year, not so much. Wasn't bad, but wasn't great. We'll see what ends up happening, but I think he's being a little overlooked. So we move on here. And this is Mojo1. Jake, this should have been a video request, but do you think Desai might know how the brotherly shove is practiced so he can show LaFleur? I'm sure he has practiced defending against it in Philly. Watch the offense technique. Seems like the Rams have the O-line. Would love to get the idea out there somehow. Interesting stuff there. I do think Desai knows how the brotherly shove goes. So I do think, he knows that. I don't think it's relevant anymore with Jason Kelce gone. I don't know if the Eagles are going to continue to do it. If they do, then when the Rams play the Eagles early, later on this year, Desai does have that experience. They already did a decent job of defending it. It's hard to defend. So we'll see what ends up happening, but that's interesting. As far as the Rams using it, I don't think they're going to use it because Matthew Stafford, I don't want to put him in harm's way, and I don't think the Rams do either. So I would say I don't know how much of an impact it'll make, but it's interesting to bring it up. Deb Wisniewski, 4549. I sound like a broken record, but your thoughts on why it's taken so long for Stafford's contract? We need number 9. So Deb, thank you. Matthew Stafford is taking pretty much a normal amount of time with the contract. He's going to be fine. He's not going to miss week 1. Do not worry about it, like I keep saying. If anything, this is a good sign. This is saying, hey, guys, I'm committed to you. Can you please commit to me? And the reason he's saying that, he's not being selfish, because there are a lot of people that say he's selfish. I've seen it. Are you kidding me? How could you ask for a contract at a time like this? Because he doesn't really have much guaranteed money left, which means at any point, whether you want to admit it or not, the Rams could decide, hey, we like this guy in the draft more than we like Stafford, at age 37. So we're going to go with the guy in the draft. And now Stafford is dead to rights, because now he doesn't have a lot of guaranteed money left on his contract. The Rams could easily move it because of that. So I'm sure he doesn't want to get traded somewhere. Not saying the Rams would do that, but I think he's just trying to cover the bases here. I'm committed to you. You commit to me. I think it's fair, and it's a good sign. It means Stafford wants to play longer than maybe some people would think. Martin Carrillo, 3830. Do the Rams already have a future star cornerback in Durant, Lake, or anyone else in the depth chart? I don't know if you mean a future star like stardom, like superstar, or you mean the star role. But I'm going to assume you mean the former, the superstar idea, right? And with that said, I think Durant is intriguing if he works out in the star role. Quentin Lake, I think, is a secret star. And I would say watch out for Kobe Durant. As far as future cornerback stars, I think Lake, though, not really a corner, but a defensive back, Lake, Kinchins, and Curl, all three of them could end up being household names by the end of this year. So remember, I said that. Even Russ Yeast, if it works out with him in the star role. Let's see. Wrapping up here, we got 4 more questions. What do you think about the Ramsey trade, getting rid of Floyd and Wagner last year, knowing what you know now? Leo, II8NB. Appreciate it. Great question. Love it. I still don't love getting rid of Ramsey. It's something that hurts, because Ramsey just felt like one of those franchise pieces. I understand if they didn't get rid of Ramsey, they probably wouldn't be in the position they're in right now. This could be a 7-8 win team. I do get that. That's a lot of money. At the same time, I am bummed that he's gone. I wouldn't be surprised if he came back either. I know he's got a lot of fans in that building, and he's a big fan of the Rams, even still. So we'll see what ends up happening there. As far as Floyd and Wagner, totally understood it. It was annoying at first, but now you have to see, really, Ramsey is the one that maybe it stings a little bit. Floyd was annoying. I've gotten over it. Same with Wagner. I'm not too big of a hater on what they did. At the time, and I always say this because people will say, well, Jake, at the time, you weren't letting Les Snead and Sean McVay cook. You were saying that this is a mistake and this is a mistake and so forth. And at the time, you're right. But here's the deal. I was right to think that because I didn't know the direction. Notice, if you go back and you see any of my stuff, when I called them out for making those moves, I said it's all dependent on the direction. If they go into the NFL draft and they don't look like they know what they're doing, I'm going to be really pissed. But they had a great draft, and I think ultimately that's what gave me the vibe. That was an A+ draft. I said it then, I'll say it now. That changed my whole opinion on the team, the trajectory, all of it. And to be fair, if anyone was upset, it's kind of hard to sell a dream and then take it away. It's kind of hard to win the Super Bowl, right? So you win the Super Bowl, then you have a bad year with injury after injury after injury that's non-football related, right? I don't think the Rams, 5-12, were a 5-12 ball club because of talent. I think it was because of injuries that they could not control. Sure, guys didn't do as well as we thought, But do you really think a guy like Allen Robinson wouldn't have had a better year if he had Matthew Stafford for all 18 weeks, 17 games? Do you really think a guy like Allen Robinson wouldn't have had a better year if Stafford was kept upright and had protection? They were injured from day one. So I do think that was a little frustrating to see that. Obviously, the whole thing with Ramsey. And then the next year, after going 5-12, they trade away these guys like Ramsey and Wagner and Floyd that didn't miss a game. It rubbed me the wrong way at the time. Still kind of feels a little weird, but I think the most annoying one was losing Ramsey because he was a key contributor, a key component, and I'd love to have him back someday. Last three questions here. Edwin Estrada, 716. Who do you think will win Defensive Rookie of the Year? If last year Kobe Turner didn't win it, there's two reasons. Either one, they don't want a Ram to win it. I'm not going to say that's the reason or not. It's one of the things I thought of. Or two, it was a first-round pick. The first-round pick got precedence. And I'm thinking about it, and I'm thinking long and hard about this, and I'm like, this is really going to come down to the wire. Okay? I think it's going to be between Jared Verse and Laiatu Latu with the Colts. I am going to give it to Jared Verse, but I would not be surprised if Latu won Defensive Rookie of the Year. Would not be surprised. Great question. Last two questions here. Any updates on the Jared Verse rookie deal, and how has the two new rookies up front looking at OTAs? So Avatar Dan 93, thank you for the question. Unfortunately, because I'm getting to this mailbag late, the update on the Verse rookie deal would be that it's already signed. You probably know that. We talked about that already on this channel. But this was a 6-day ago or 7-day ago comment, to be fair. So that's on me. The two new rookies up front, I hear they're looking good. I'm not at OTAs, but all signs point to them looking really good. There are rave reviews about not only Verse, but also Fisk. So that's what I have there. And the last but not least question, Payo Time Rams YouTube. Okay, you can go and check out Payo Time and subscribe to his channel. He's a good dude. I've collaborated with him in the past. Also covers the Rams. If you want more of like a friendly, just a hangout, just a really, chill vibe, head on over to his channel. He does live streams and all that. Shout out to him. When you look at the state of the NFC after the draft, how realistic do you think the Rams being the number one seed is? Scale of 1 to 10, the Niners, Lions, and Packers would seem to be the biggest threats to claim the top seed. I'm going to be honest with you. Scale of 1 to 10, I think the Rams winning the NFC is a 9 out of 10. Okay, so very realistic. The reason it's not a 10 out of 10 is because, like you mentioned, the Niners, the Lions, the Packers. I think the Rams are a better team than the Lions and Packers. I think the Niners and Rams are neck and neck. I think the Rams have considerably closed the gap. I'm not the only one who says this. Dan Viennes, who covers the Seahawks, I went on his show, Forever Seattle. Basically what it comes down to is this, right? What it comes down to is this. The Niners didn't get much better this year. The Rams did. They got a lot better, and they were already really good, and they were already closing the gap last year. They won Week 18, backups, all that, whatever. Week 2, the home opener against the 49ers was a neck-and-neck game. So I think they've closed the gap. I think they're going to split, but I think the Rams ultimately end up winning the NFC West. So thank you for the question, Payo. Thank you for the questions, everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed this mailbag. We are going to continue doing this every week. I just hopefully will do it sooner so we don't have stale questions. But again, thank you for your participation. I'll be back next time for a third mailbag, and we'll just keep it going. You guys take care, and I'll see you soon. Later, folks. Do you love talking about the Rams, the NFL, or just want to be a part of a community? Join my free Discord server today. We're over 800 members. We got 24/7 live chat, a level 3 boosted server, the ability to call into JE Live, playing online games with us on Kick streams, toggleable alerts for when I go live on YouTube or Kick so you don't miss a live stream, and exclusive giveaways. Click the link in the description, the comments section, or the link that comes up in the video to learn more and join today.